There is no guarantee for success, but there are ways to get closer to it when you do the right things. Who you surround yourself with is just as important as what you do. Finding the right people, the right classes, the right activities, and taking the right tests are all decisions that shape your future. Find out more today on Destination University with Dr. Cynthia Colon. Dr. Colon and her guests will give you the tips you need, whether you're a student, parent, or educator. Now, here is your host, Dr. Cynthia Colon.
You're listening to Destination University, a podcast for college-bound teens and the parents, mentors, and educators who support them. If that is you, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. As an educator for 30 years, I have met some of the most amazing and creative people along my journey. They are teachers, college administrators, high-level assistants. These people are talented. The problem is most educators treat their talent as a hobby, when in my mind, they could be supplementing their income with a side hustle. Today, our fabulous guest, Anais Goldberg, is just the gal with immense talent who figured out how to go from educator to mom to entrepreneur. If you are in a job that you like or even love, but you know you've got more in you, but just don't know how to get started, this episode is for you. Well, hello, everyone. I'm your host, Dr. Cynthia Colon, TEDx speaker, college admissions strategist, and author of the book, Be Committed, Get Admitted. Welcome to Destination University. We help college-bound teens create an action plan, become interesting applicants, and write compelling essays that increase acceptance letters. We do this through online or live group classes and private counseling. Consider me your happy success expert. By being here today already tells me that you are looking to get ahead, find practical advice, and take action steps. You are growing the community of happy and well-informed families across the nation. So thank you for joining the movement. Okay, everyone, we are in season 9. And this podcast started in 2018. Go back, you can listen to it. We were on a different platform, so not all the episodes are there, but nonetheless, we are in season 9. And we're calling this Friday Full Disclosure Friday. So, truth be told, there's no telling what's in store for Fridays. My plan is to share my own journey of becoming an edupreneur, how I went from working in admissions at Vassar College to the director of college counseling at Marymount High School, and how I doubled my salary in 3 weeks in just one summer. That one little essay bootcamp idea turned out to be something more than a side hustle. I've invited other fellow former educators turned entrepreneurs and edupreneurs. So we're going to have just a lot of fun. So let's get to it. Well, welcome to the show, Anais. It has been quite some time. It's great to see you.
It's so good to see you too, Cynthia. Thank you for having me. I was honored to be invited.
Oh, well, we're in season 9, if you can believe it. I've been doing this podcast since 2018. And wow. Yeah, but this, as I said in the intro, this season, we're doing 3 podcasts per week, and you are part of our Full Disclosure Fridays, which is now going to be my favorite day of the week.
Okay, mine too. It already is my favorite day of the week.
Well, yeah, that's true. It's Friday. Lots of reasons to love Full Disclosure Friday. But I'm going to tell you the little backstory, and we're going to jump into you. And that is, I started doing these Full Disclosure Fridays blogs in my newsletter when I was selling my old condo and buying my new home. And that was getting the most clicks and opens, and people, love when you just share sort of just the real you, your real life. And I bet you can attest to that doing what you do. So anyway, it was an idea that I had to sort of start to share a little bit of how I came to this side hustle that turned business, and I wanted to interview other educators like you turned side hustles. So welcome to the show. I couldn't be more excited. And first of all, why don't you just start by sharing a little bit about all the many hats that you wear in your own life right now.
Gosh, so they're more like sombreros, not mini hats, but sombrero. Primarily the mom of 3 vibrant, beautiful girls that I'm extremely proud of. I have a 9-year-old and 7-year-old twins, and they are 19 months apart, 3rd and 2nd grade. And they keep me very, very busy. And I really enjoy them. And I'm also trying to give them everything that I didn't have as growing up. And I don't mean materially, I mean more structure wise, you know. I come from a family of parents of immigrants, and I feel like that, you know, there's a lot of every parent in the 80s was just doing their best, right? But I feel like immigrants have an extra level of like
Yes.
just really just trying to get through the day type of thing.
Having your arroz con pollo, or
Right. There's not too much mindful parenting in the
right.
in the 80s and in the immigrant parent. But anyway, that's so there's one half of like being as present and mindful of a parent as I possibly muster the energy. Running my business, which is teaching people how to cook, which is my passion project. Slash what you're calling a side hustle, which, you know, that's a fun term too. Being a good wife, and being a, this is again with the parenthood thing, just trying to keep up with the school emails and you know, to school.
I know. I was just gonna say, you can't forget, like, just your kids have the job of going to school, but you that's an added job for you to be like a parent that has to be involved and fully aware of what's happening.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. Keeping up with all the Venmo requests for this and that, and the uniform sales, and the Girl Scout leader. I'm a Girl Scout leader. That's
oh my
another
gosh.
thing.
Well, that is quite a bit. And
Mhm.
also that, doesn't come without expense, right? And so
Right.
we, full disclosure, Anais and I met at Marymount High School. We both worked at Marymount High School, and we became fast friends. And back in the day, I was married, and so our husbands and I got along, and so we went out sometimes. But we've lost contact for so long. So back in the game. So just help us understand, how did you discover, or maybe you always knew, how did you discover your passion, and share a little bit about exactly what you do now? Share a little bit about your business.
Well, if I can think back to being 12 years old, and there was one day that my parents took us all to the mall, and we went to a bookstore in the mall, and my parents said, you just each pick out a book. And the book that I picked out was a kid's cookbook.
Oh.
And that's what I wanted to take home. And that night, I opened up that cookbook and I wanted to make dinner for the family. And I just remember that feeling of being so proud and so, it just fulfilled me. I remember that feeling of fulfillment when I made dinner for my family out of this, kids' cookbook.
Yeah.
And I remember my parents being really proud of me. So from that age, I mean, this is the fact that I don't remember too many things, too many details of my childhood for whatever reason, but that one really stands out when I think about the trajectory of my life and my passion. And then I was the oldest of 3, then 4. My sister is younger than me by a lot, but I had 2 brothers, and I didn't play with them much because they were just too rough for me. And my grandmother was a fixture in our household. She stayed with us all week long to help my mom, who worked, and she, almost raised us. I don't want to discredit anything my mom did. My mom raised us as well, but my grandmother was very integral in our lives, and she was my mate. I would just, stand around with her all day long in the kitchen, getting in her way, asking her if I could help. She didn't really want me to help, because now I understand when my kids and ask if they can help make dinner. I'm like, okay. Here's one little thing
Wow.
you can do now. Go back and play. But but I did that to my grandmother all the time, and especially during the summers when we were home from school. I didn't go to camps. It was Camp Grandma, and she wasn't like the type of grandma that was going to sit down and do an art project with you. She had her things to do, and I just had to watch.
My gosh. Well, okay, so I'm going to pause you here because I wanted to say, those of you who have been following me for a bit, you know that I call this the coolness factor. And when I have private clients in our first meeting, I ask the parents 3 questions. What do you love about your child? What is he or she really good at? And what is your favorite memory? And often, they don't know why I'm asking these questions, but often it leads, if a parent would probably remember that memory, or you would, and you would say it to me, and it typically leads to something or is linked to something that you're interested now, right? So, oh, it's so fabulous that you knew that. So, okay. So tell us, what do you do? What is your business now? You said earlier you help your students, you help people learn how to cook.
Learn how to cook in a way that's healthy and flavorful, learn to meal plan, anything that involves the kitchen, basically. And it started during the pandemic, funny enough,
Right.
because that's when I finally had the time. Before the pandemic, I was momming so hard. I was like the first responder at my kids' preschool. Anytime there was they needed cups for a project or popsicle sticks or whatever, I was the first person they called because I was, so all in there. And I mean, the iPhone thought that the preschool was my house. When it tells you it'll take you 7 minutes to get to Oxnard and Victory or wherever it was. I was like, no, that's not my house. That's actually this kid's school.
That's crazy.
But so when life just slowed down, I kind of one day just got on Instagram stories and showed people what I was making for dinner, just my friends. I had 300 followers, which were just, friends, acquaintances, whatever. And I just decided to give a few little cooking tips. And then people started telling me that they really enjoyed them and they would look forward to them every day. And they just gave me purpose and enjoyment. And I was just doing them every single day for free. And at some point I said, yeah, I'm treating this like a job. Maybe I should make some money out of it.
Right. Well, and that's my point, right? That educators will treat something they love to do, and they're so creative, and as a hobby. And so at some point you decided to monetize, you could monetize that. So do you have courses? What can people do if they follow you?
Well, it started with courses because we were in the middle of the pandemic, so much was online. So I started offering some 8-week cooking courses that included some meal planning, live Zooms, some recorded content. And now I'm just really leaning into live things. So in person, one-on-one instruction. I actually on Monday, I still had a Zoom client. I have a client who is very, very faithful. She's bought quite a bit of my courses, but she always gives her mother a certificate with me for Christmas. And so every year I do a Zoom class with this client and her mom, who's in Tennessee, and the client's in LA, and the 3 of us on Zoom and cook, and it's actually really, really fun. And I've got some live events going on. I've teamed up with a doctor who owns a anti-aging clinic here in LA, and then 2 other women who do meditation and yoga, and we've got a sort of mini retreat going on January 27th. So I'm just leaning in more to the live, in person, because I get so much energy from that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Even not for me, my essay camps, the live ones are always better. I have to say, just a plug for you. I've done a number of your recipes, and they are all very, very flavorful. And I will say that my mom's cooking is equally flavorful, but not necessarily equally healthy. And so it's been great to, like, your broccoli asparagus soup, I still make pretty on
You
the
do?
regular. And that mango salad that we did for my birthday, like we did
Well, that was good,
we
right?
had you do something for my birthday during COVID, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And the mango salad was great. Your persimmon jicama salad is delish.
Thank you.
I mean, so many things that I've tried. And so sometimes I'll, share them, and like people are like, oh, can you send me yeah, here it is. So, okay. So back up, with, what did you do before you were a mom and an entrepreneur? What, and I can't remember, I know that you did admissions at Marymount, but how long were you in the education space?
I was in there for probably total about 8 years
Okay.
because right out of college I worked at a private school here in LA. I was an associate teacher in third grade, and then I decided to go into nonprofit fundraising. So then I worked at Boy
Oh,
Scouts, doing their big events in Orange County, and then after that is when I came to Marymount and did admissions.
okay. So 8 years as an educator, and, you know, what advice would you give to someone who's out there similar to yourself and myself, that you just know you have something, in you that you would rather be doing, or let's face it, we can't all live on an educator's salary. So what were the steps that you took once you decided? So it sounds like you were just doing this for fun, but what were the steps that you took once you decided, you know what, I need to take myself more seriously and treat this like a business and actually monetize it? What advice would you have?
Well, the advice that I'd have is to establish your daily habits, which I still struggle with. So decide what your goal is. So for example, right now I have a goal of creating a cookbook. I have so many recipes and they are all over the place. Google Docs, Canva, like they're scattered everywhere. Instagram posts, like I don't even know. They're probably in 10 different places. So it'd be pretty easy for me to write a cookbook at this point. But the admin is something that I struggle with. So I have decided that I'm going to create a habit of every day putting one of those recipes into a cohesive folder in
Yes.
Canva that I can then go and create a cookbook with. And just sticking to that habit, that one thing,
Yeah.
is so important for, something
Right.
like this.
Well, and while you were saying that, I was thinking, that's a good tip for someone who's getting started, to start with that, right? To
Right.
start with that habit. And then I assume, or maybe you don't have pictures, because you do, I know you do your videos, your reels and stuff. So um, so do you always take pictures, or now do you have to go back and make those dishes to have photos?
I would probably have to go back and remake the, because I mean, the iPhone will sort. How do I even go back and search
Oh my God.
things? Um, yeah, there's some things that I did take photograph, but the organization of all of the content is very, very difficult. And then there's also some things that I would do a little differently these days. So I think the most important thing is not to be a perfectionist about it. Like, get it down on paper. And then when you read a cookbook, they don't have pictures for every single thing. There's a couple things here and there. So
Yeah.
once it's all down, then I'll go back and I'll figure out what's worth photographing again. What can I,
Yeah.
do
So
something.
good.
But not to
Well,
be a perfectionist, that's another big thing. Like, the whole perfectionist veil is not cute. Like, nothing has to be perfect. It's
yeah.
more important to get it down first.
I'm a big follower of Amy Porterfield, especially in the beginning when I was developing courses and webinars and things like that. But she says something like B plus work is better than nothing, right? Like just start, just do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just got to start getting it out there. So
Yeah, because then you can always refine it later. But if you don't get it down, or you only do 2 recipes because you're trying to make them look like a Martha Stewart cookbook, before you ever put them out there, you'll never get there.
you'll never get there. I know. I know. I was trying to get into my phone because I couldn't remember the last question. I think I said sent you 5 questions. So let's see. What was the last question? All right. Yeah, no, I think we got it. What were you doing before you became a chef? And what advice do you have for anyone who's an entrepreneur? So when you describe yourself, when people, because, people, when we meet new people, they always ask, oh, what do you do? So what do you say when people give you that question?
I usually say I'm a chef, and they're like, "Oh, where do you work?" Because everybody's
Yeah.
so focused on the where, right?
Right.
So depending on who I talk to, I say I do some restaurant consulting, which I do.
Mhm.
It depends on how legitimate I want to make myself feel to that person. I say I do some restaurant consulting, and then I do social media content, and I have private clients.
Yes. Okay, good, good.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, look, you legitimately are, and that's what I think I wanted really to be the takeaway is that, once anyone decides to take themselves seriously, whether you've been doing a hobby and now it's a little side hustle, now it's turning into more, when I was writing before my first book came out, I wasn't working. So I had taken basically a sabbatical to like set out to write the book. So I knew people were going to ask me like, when you meet, like, oh, what do you do? And I thought, well, what am I going to say? So I just said, I'm an author. And before I was an author. And you also if you believe in manifestation, like you're also just speaking it into the world every single
Exactly.
time. So once I was just said I was an author, what that made me do was have the habits of being an author, which was getting up every morning, making sure I wrote every morning, whatever. So yeah, so lots of ways to do that. So, oh my gosh. Okay. Any other tips that you have for all of us?
My main tip is to just follow your passion and find a way to make that happen.
And where, Anais, can we all find you? People who are looking for great recipes that are flavorful and healthy, where can we find you?
The best way to find me is Instagram. I answer people there. I'm very engaged, and most of my content lives on Instagram. It's at Anais Goldberg, ANAIS GOLDBERG.
Okay, awesome. Well, there you have it. From one entrepreneur to another, you can turn your hobby into a side hustle and even turn it into your main hustle. So there you go. Thanks, Anais. It's so great to see you. And
Thank you, Cynthia.
I will see you. Maybe we'll have you on again. I love it. Maybe you should do like a cooking thing for us. That would be
That
great.
would be really fun.
Super fun. So yeah, I have an idea for maybe something we can do in April. So
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Until next time, that is all for now. Wave goodbye to everyone.
Bye.
Wow. If you've been listening and thinking, that's me. I can do that. I want to do that. You are not alone. I know what it's like to live on an educator's salary. And even working at a private high school meant my salary was slightly higher for me, but it wasn't enough. For so long, I thought it was wrong to want more and strive for more. But then I thought, about like, why do I want this? I wanted to travel, I wanted to go to more sporting events. And more than that, I now have a goal of giving $100,000 to 6 organizations that I love. And I'm starting this year with Teachers College at Columbia University, my alma mater. So, what's your why? And if you know your why, it might just be the fuel you need to get started. So if you know your why, or once you know your why, you might be thinking, well, what's my what? What can I do as a side hustle? Well, I can help with that. I am looking for other edupreneurs like me who want to license my workshops and courses. This is a ready-made business in a box. You don't have to put in the blood, sweat, tears, and years that I did to get everything up and running. So let's chat if that's of interest to you. Go to my website and schedule a call. You can go to drcynthiacolon.com/schedule and click on Educators. That's drcynthiacolon.com/schedule. I'll be waiting for you. Remember, nobody else is going to bet on you except you. And from where I sit, you are your best bet. Well, that's all I have for you today, my friends. Thank you for tuning in to Destination University. I'm Dr. Cynthia Colon, your happy success expert. If this episode has in any way helped, fueled, inspired you, please share this episode with 3 people in the next 30 minutes. Thanks for listening. You can subscribe to Destination University wherever you get your podcast. And while you're there, leave us a review. It sure does help a lot. By subscribing and reviewing, you are helping to grow the community of informed families across the nation. Thank you for joining the movement. And if you haven't binge listened to our previous seasons, do it. If you know an 8th grader or a high school student, dive in and take every piece of advice possible. Start with episode 1, where I interview my mother. You will love her. Okay, once again, if you found value in today, please share this episode with 3 families in the next 30 minutes. I'll be sure to see you next week, same time, same place. Until then, wherever you are, may you have a happy and sunny day. Bye for now.
Thank you so much for listening this week to Destination University. Be sure to join Dr. Cynthia Colon again and get one step closer to your success.